Now, how do you go about finding your people?
Ooh.
So, a lot of it's through referrals. So, like, for example, I have one lady that I've been friends with, and she's in the caregiving space. And so, like, but more on the nursing home and assisted living facility. But sometimes what happens is those individuals that are working in nursing homes oftentimes have, on average, 25 to 35 people on their caseload.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my gosh.
yes. When I do interviews of anybody who comes from a nursing home, or, specifically, I'll ask them. So, how many people do you typically see in one shift? They said, "No, I have 35. I've heard as much as 45 people." So imagine every hour. Let's say 10 people have soiled themselves. How are
Mm-hmm.
you getting around to the other 30
You're
people?
not.
You're
You're
not.
not.
Their needs are not going to be met. It's not possible. So many of them get burned out from just being stressed out, from feeling inadequate, because it's no matter how hard you work on that shift, it's
You're
never
never.
enough.
Yeah.
It's
Right,
you.
right.
And someone's always going to be upset with you. And when people get upset, especially when they're older, many of them lose that filter. They don't care
Right.
about what they're
Filter.
saying to you. They don't care about how they're coming across to you. So getting spat on, being called names
Mm-hmm.
that your parents never gave you, that would make
Yes.
you want to cuss them out. Like, caregivers really have to, especially in those environments, they
Mm-hmm.
really have to put themselves in situations where they compartmentalize and understand that a person with dementia calling you the N
Right.
word, or calling you ugly or stupid, or whatever the case, whatever the put down may be, is not them. It's their disability that's talking. And
Exactly.
so sometimes, unfortunately, you hear a lot about abuse that happens because the caregiver themselves is driven to their wits end
They
because
lost
they haven't
it.
compartmentalized what's going
Mm.
on. So we find people that have a heart, that have that care and compassion, and they want to preserve the dignity. And some of them have just been worn out because they know they can't really do what's necessary to meet the needs of everybody. So the idea of working with one person is a dream.
They're like,
So a
yes.
lot, yes. So a lot
Right.
of our referrals come from people who are in that space, who want something different. And then we also we do advertising and things like that. And so, we'll sit down and we'll talk to 20, 30 different people on a day-to-day basis, especially when we're hiring large numbers of people. So we're very, very blessed to have a nice array of avenues to acquire talent. But one thing that's really, really important is to understand, good talent is hard to keep because, many of them are aspirational and we don't want to hold them back too. So, sometimes we do have a bit of a revolving door. So recruiting and referrals are an ongoing necessity for the lifeblood of our business.
And I can imagine too that you would, in the position that you're in, get people who truly want to be there.
Yes, absolutely. And one thing I
A
can say is,
win-win for everybody.
yes. And in my life, in my professional life, I would say one of the blessings that I've had is I have kind of a superpower in reading people pretty quickly, because in my entire adult life, I've been around lots of people. And so I've seen people that, you know, try to come across one way, but they're really another way. I've seen a lot of people who really undersell what they really bring to the table, and I see other people that think too highly of themselves, given
So,
what where they are.
Mm.
And so I really, really pride myself. I don't get it right 100% of the time. I wouldn't lie and tell you that, but I'm right most of the time, overwhelmingly. And so because of that, that helps us to really quickly weed out the people who are just there to collect a paycheck. They don't survive here because just our culture doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel conducive for their way of being, and so they just
Right.
kind of inch themselves out, and we're perfectly okay with that.
Yeah.
Right. So do you hire people that are just good with people and love to help and
Yes. Now, there are requirements, like they have to have basic CPR skills. They have to go through our training and they have to renew that training once a year. And so, depending upon, so like we have veterans care services, we have respite care services, and then we also have home care services. Now, all of them, what's common is they go into the home to provide non medical services, but the audience is different. And so, because the audience in which they serve is different, the training has to be in alignment with that particular audience. And so they have to understand that when they come in, just being a good person, that's the most important foundation. Without that, I don't care how much you know. But even though you're a good person, you also have to have specific skill sets
skills?
to be able to do our job well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so your business does the non-medical. So what happens when you're a caregiver for somebody and they switch over now to needing the medical part
Yep. So one of the
of
things
care?
yes, that's a good question. So one of the things that we instruct our caregivers to do is they have to do daily reports. So that's, paperwork is a really big part of everything.
Okay.
And so when they start to recognize signs, like let's say, for example, they start to get more forgetful and they may need memory care, or maybe they have decreased their capacity to walk and they may need some type of physical therapy. Whatever the case may be, they have to alert us of that. And then what we'll do is have a conversation with their loved ones to let them know that there's a different level of support that their parents are in the process of needing. And the moment we find out, our goal is to let them know before it actually happens so they can begin to plan for it and they can begin to look for other resources. So just like we talk about the importance of making sure that individuals plan long term for their parents' care, when those types of care needs start to change, we also want to afford them as much time as possible to effectively transition so they're not doing it in a hasty way.
That's good.
So now so like let's say the person, like you said, needs the physical therapy part of that piece. That caregiver that you already have in the home stays, but you're just implementing another piece?
It depends. Good question. That's a really good question. Okay, so I'll give you two scenarios. So one scenario is, let's say, for example, we have a personal caregiver in the home already established, and somehow mom trips and falls, or dad has a issue where he has a heart attack or a stroke. He comes back. Our caregivers can work in conjunction with the physical therapist or with the nurse or with whatever source of care they need, because it's temporary. Our people are typically there on an ongoing basis. So when an episode happens and they need medical care provided, we can do that in conjunction with them. Scenario B is their health has diminished to a place where they no longer can effectively get by with non-medical care, and they need skilled nursing or they need ongoing therapy where it's something that we can't specifically provide. That's when we transition them to another agency or another entity to then take the baton and give them that necessary care. In many cases, we transition them to hospice, where a hospice agency comes in and provides that, or palliative care. And so when it's the end of their life and we can't administer medication and make them feel comfortable, we can't provide specific behavioral health or medical. We can't do their vital signs or anything like that. All of those types of needs, we hand the baton off to other agencies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. This has
This
just been so amazing.
is awesome.
This has
Thank
been
you.
so amazing.
Well, good.
Wrapping, I guess.
Like Steph says,
What would you tell the people listening? What's your ending thoughts for them to help them do what they need to do, I guess.
Yeah. No, that's such an important point. It's such an important point
I
because
can see that the discussion part, having the discussion beforehand, that was pivotal.
yeah, no doubt. One thing is that I hope that people walk away from this conversation just knowing, one, that you're not alone,
Yes.
and two, know that there are services and agencies and companies out there that are out there to help and to take the load off and the burden off when you can no longer bear it. And the other thing that I hope you walk away with is the importance of understanding that it's imperative to start thinking about these things before you actually need it, so you can start to create a runway for yourself financially, emotionally, physically, mentally, psychologically, because when you're placed in the midst of that challenge without any runway, without any opportunity to prepare, it is a life-altering set of circumstances. And I can tell you, we did a caregivers event, and there was a gentleman that was there because we did a panel of people who provided care for their parents. And he said something that was really profound. He said, I hate to admit this in public, but because we're amongst family, it's important for you to know this. He says, now, I'm a mama's boy through and through, and my mom came and lived with us. And one day I was out at work, and my wife was at home with my mom, and she gives me a call, and she says, husband, I won't say his name, you need to get home as quickly as possible. He's like, first, is mom okay? She said, yes, she's okay, but you need to get home as soon as possible. And so he gets home, and his mom is sitting there in her own diarrhea. And as he walks up towards her, he slips and falls, and it's all over him. And at that moment, he was saying, I wish you would die.
what do we do here?
I wish you would die, because I don't want you feeling and being in this place anymore. You're not in a good space. And when you die, it's going to be better for you, and it's going to be better for all of us. And he said at that very moment, a profound degree of guilt just flooded my being. And even as I look back at it, it was still a real feeling. And I'm relieved that she's gone now. I miss her profoundly, and not a day goes by without me thinking about her. But if I would have had somebody to take that load off, she could have just been my mom.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
And so for people who have aging parents, do whatever you can to prepare. If they're still young enough, get a life insurance policy. You can have long-term care as a part of it. And then when they pass away, you get the life insurance money. You can, prepare and plan and do their burial, and then also have an inheritance built all into it and still provide support for them. Some of you may say, you know what, my parent isn't life insurance eligible. Start setting money aside right now. Be very practical and pragmatic and say, look, if this happens, I may not have somebody come in every day, 24 hours a day, but I can have somebody come in 4 hours a day to give me a little reprieve and do those things, because you deserve it. You owe it to yourself. And also your parents don't want to feel like they're a burden on you. So it's really, really important to plan early.
I mean, just having my husband being in that place, I remember that same thought of saying, Lord, barring a miracle right now that only you can give, if that doesn't happen, please take him soon.
Yeah.
Because this is
Absolutely.
it's too much. It's too
Yeah,
much.
absolutely. Absolutely. It's a tough road to travel, and so many people. Until you've gone through it, there's no way
Don't
you can
know.
possibly understand. There's no way.
Don't know.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Now, sitting here, and both of us are in our 50s, sitting here, my thoughts are too, not just my mom now. I'm like, okay, what about for me too? And do you give like little classes or seminars on like 50 and above, like what we need to have and line up and where do we start? Do you have little
I
classes
have
for
a
that?
YouTube channel. On my YouTube channel, I go through all of those things, and it's all
Okay.
free. So it's I'll give you all of that so you can put it in the description. And so Beacon on the Hill is our YouTube channel. Yeah, and so also our website is bothhomehealth.org. But most of the things that you're talking about, Monique, those things are on our YouTube channel. We have classes that go over it. I'm a talking head, but I go over all of those topics.
That's
Okay.
awesome. I know. I remember. I remember shortly after my husband passed. That's the we thankfully we both had life insurance policies set in stone already. But
That's a
I
blessing.
immediately went through my church and
Hmm.
set up a trust and named everybody. Told all the kids, okay, this is what we're doing. Da 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 da. It's all here. It's all on paper. Boom.
Yep. That's so important. Living trust, and it's not a will; it's a living trust that you need, because the living trust is what's legally binding. So
Yes.
that's a really important distinction. And there are many states where if you pass away and you have a certain amount of assets, it automatically goes to
Goes to
probate.
probate. Yep.
Hmm.
Living trust negates all of that.
Yes.
Well, we're gonna have you on again.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
This
I
was so
appreciate it.
amazing. So much
Oh,
information.
Oh, good.
yeah.
I'm
I
glad
am
you got value
so
from that.
thankful.
It's
Wow.
my pleasure. My pleasure.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, like we said, and he said the information will be in the
We'll
what
put
do you
it in
call
the
that?
description.
What do you call that on the bottom down there?
In
We'll
the
put it in the
description.
In the
description. We'll
description.
have the links for you to
Yeah.
go to his
Yes.
channel and get that information that you need. And this is definitely one that you're
This
going
is
to want to share with
yes.
people. You need to
Yes.
share it with as many people as possible, because nobody likes to think about it, but it is real. It happens, and it can happen at any point
Yeah.
to a parent, a spouse, a child, sister, brother, whatever. Life happens. So we need to be prepared. So we want you to be prepared. So share, share, share. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and definitely share.